Hello. What we're going to do now is we're going to demo the multi-cade aspects of this custom arcade cabinet. And to do the demonstration for me, I have my wife here, Candice, and she's going to walk you through some of the aspects of the system and show you the real perks and bells and whistles that we have here. Right now what we're on is the main menu for a system called Visionary. Visionary allows you to visually navigate through the thousands of games that are available on the system in a way that shows both the logo for the game and a small looped video. It makes it a lot easier and less daunting to go through all those available choices, and it breaks them down by category. So right now what you're looking at is console classics. We have beat 'em up games, which are side-scrolling games. Fight Club, which is games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, so all of your tournament fighting type games. Race Driver, there are a handful of racing games and car games here. Then we have Run and Gun, so these are the side-scrolling shooters like Metal Slug. And then the next group is Shoot 'em Ups, and these are a lot of flying and shooting games like 1942 and Time Pilots. And then the next group is actually a shutdown icon. And you also have arcade classics available, which is exactly what it sounds like, Pac-Man and Asteroids and all of those classic games. So Candice is actually going to enter the arcade classics section and show you some of the available games in this grouping. As you can see, each game has its own logo, and by moving the joystick right and left, you can actually scroll through them and see a video for each of the games. So we have some really classic games in here, the kinds that most of us blew a lot of quarters on, such as Bubble Bobble and Burger Time, and they're all sorted alphabetically. So if you're sort of thinking of a game, you can kind of search around and find it pretty easily. Each category in the lower right-hand corner of the screen tells you how many games are in the section. So for instance, the Arcade Classic section has 68 games in it. Some of the others have hundreds, and altogether between all 6 categories, I believe, there's several thousand. So it's a pretty broad and varied selection. If she would exit back to the main menu, which can be done by pressing the player 1 and the coin button. Now in the corner here, what they call the pinball flipper buttons are our coin buttons. And whenever someone is in a game, they can add more coins by pressing those. And of course, your 1 and 2 player start buttons start the game. So Candice, if you could go over to the beat 'em up section and go ahead and start that. And go ahead and go to your left there and go to X-Men. Now this is a game that I put a lot of quarters into as a kid, and I'm going to use it as a demo because it's one of my favorites. Go ahead and hit the first player 1 button, yep. And then it's going to take a second to boot up. Every game goes through the initial startup screen just like an old vintage MAME or a vintage arcade cabinet. So it goes through all of the initial tests and demos that arcade cabinets do. So we're seeing the startup screen as if you had just plugged in the cabinet for the first time. Once it runs through all those tests and checks, then it begins with the initial animations, and you're able to put in your faux coins to start a game. Depending on how complicated the game is, those startup screens take a little longer or a little less, but like I said, it's like your initial boot up for the day. So go ahead and add a couple coins, Candice. And this is a 6-player version of X-Men, so you're able to choose any of these 6 characters. We can run 2 players simultaneously on the control board. She's going to pick Wolverine because she loves the bad boy character. And you can skip through these animations and show the game works just like the traditional game. Now with the control board being custom, brand new buttons, anytime a button burns out or there's a problem, you can replace those by hand very easily. With the monitor being new, of course, it's very easy to swap in and out monitors and replace those. So the beauty of using new hardware is that in any case there's a failure, it's a very quick process of swapping that out and getting back to being a fully functional cabinet. So what you're seeing is basically the entire experience of the arcade cabinet for X-Men, but as one of thousands of available options as opposed to having the entire cabinet dedicated to just that one game. Now it's very possible to set this cabinet to do specific games, and you can run games off of disk so that it's the only game for this cabinet and turning it into a dedicated machine. But out of the box, it's also possible, again, to do these thousands of MAME options. So this sort of concludes this demo, and good timing because Wolverine's getting his butt kicked. And we're going to go to a light gun demo next.